We're good, Darren.
This
Whoa.
Switch lineup in 2018.
Oh,
Like,
never mind. I got it. We're playing back through the stream. I just picked it up.
And revisiting Mario Odyssey, which I didn't think I could do, but I am.
Yeah,
So
we're good, Darren.
got that going for me.
Huh?
Stream is going.
No, I know. I was like, we're good. We're good. Oh wait,
Muted.
never mind.
Alright, everything's muted now. I don't care if you see yourself. Live stream. YouTube live. And up on podcast. This is live. $10 backers up. Alright. That's up. Yes is up.
Topics.
No.
Okay. Did you send Darren the topics?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he did.
Okay. Sounds good. Nice.
We're supposed to get started already, so let's screw it and go. Here we go. Here we go. One more time. My bodies. Oh, this is my. Oh, this is cold.
Oh, shoes. I'm gonna grab one.
Oh,
Hey,
right.
there's a. Could just do one of the 2 liters.
Hat off.
Hey Darren, how's it going, my boy?
It's going. It is definitely going.
I was
Yeah.
Alrighty. Are we ready? Are we set? Let's get it done. So, you recording, Darren?
I am now. Yeah, I'm recording. Testing. Okay, I'm recording.
Alright, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Oh, I didn't even clap.
I
Hold
know
on.
you didn't.
Do that again.
3, 2, 1. Alright, good enough. Blah, 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 blah. Well, I might want to actually bring the topics up that I sent Darren. Otherwise, I'm going to do like a topic rundown. I'll just pull it off my top of my head. Alright. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Nintendo Prime Podcast, episode 57. Today, it is just the regular podcast crew in Mr. Darren Haar.
How's it going?
And, as always, this sexy beast over here, Mr. Eric Moore.
Okay. Right.
I gotta find a new way to introduce you every week.
Okay.
Every week.
Nate, what is up with you tonight, bro?
What do you mean, what's up with me tonight?
I don't know the way you're talking.
It's been a long week.
Yeah.
And it's gonna probably be an even longer week and a longer weekend, and it's life. I don't know. I'm just not feeling the greatest. I haven't been in a good mindset, I think, since the Smash Cast.
Smashcast.
You guys eviscerated me.
Yeah. He's still trying to pick himself up off the mat on the.
That's not. It has nothing to do. By the way, if you haven't heard the Smashcast, please go and take a listen. We'll put a link to it down in the description. Normally, we don't link to like a prior episode directly in the description. You can just go to the playlist. However, the Smashcast was literally published the same day we're recording the new podcast.
Yeah.
Because we had some delays in getting audio files and blah blah blah. But whatever, it's up now. Go check it out. It featured OJ from Player Essence, and She Says, best known for his work on Boundary Break. All right. So this week, we really only have 3 topics. It's going to be a shorter podcast. We came off 2 ultra long weeks. Probably 3, because I think the week before was 2.5.
Yeah, I think something like that.
So we went 2.5, 3, and then we had 2 hours last week, which was only a little bit off target. Probably would have actually hit our target if She Says would have been there right away.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Calling you out. He actually watches a lot of our videos. He comments on a lot now.
Nice.
Good on him. I like that guy.
Yeah.
So, The topics we have for this week, the first one is about E3.
Yeah.
We're finally, folks, people have been asking us to talk about E3 for a while. Nintendo finally gave us a reason to talk about E3.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about E3. And that deals specifically with hosting a Splatoon 2 in Smash Bros. Invitational.
I saw that earlier. I'm like,
And
yes.
so we'll kind of lead that into Abba's, probably some other talks about E3. I'm not going to get too crazy yet because we will have an E3 special eventually. Probably a betting special. Because we do bets. It is what it is.
Right.
Heading to the major events. And it'll be interesting because we'll be at it at the event.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun. It'll be fun. Especially anybody there knows about our betting special.
Oh, gosh.
And then they point at us and laugh.
Yeah, right.
Anyways, the second topic is about the Switch eShop. Nintendo this past week has been talking a lot about improving the Switch eShop. So we're going to talk about that and basically where we think the shortcomings are and how we think it can get better from our perspective. Because Nintendo really never gave us an idea of what they mean by it's going to get better throughout the year. They explain clearly where they think the shortcomings are. But they don't really... I guess clearly is the wrong word. We'll get into that when we talk about it. The other one, this topic's going to make Eric smile. Banjo Kazooie and Smash?
Oh, yeah.
What? Phil Spencer reminding us about that. And then, in addition, kind of part of this topic as well is that Rare is allowing companies or is looking into having other companies potentially revive their old IP, which would include Banjo Kazooie, we presume, because that's an old IP that's not used anymore, and maybe even Conquer. And if there's any implications there, if Microsoft would be willing to allow it to be a multi-platform release, which would then mean Switch is back in. Have fun cutting that one out.
Yeah, damn.
I only get like 3 subscribers a day.
Yeah.
Why is it always when we're recording?
I don't know. Because...
Anyways,
reasons.
Why can't it be a cha-ching?
Yeah, I don't know.
Cha-ching. One of our $10 Patreon backers just gave us $2,000.
Yeah, there you go.
Yay!
Yeah, right.
All right. Anyways, back to the podcast. Beyond that, that's really it. We'll get into that. And then the last topic is just kind of a free verse if there's anything else we feel like talking about. I know there's one thing Darren really wanted to talk about today. You know, it's such a big deal we could make the whole podcast about it, to be honest. But I haven't done enough research on it, so Darren's actually looked at a particular rumor list way more than I have.
Oh, I thought you were talking about his internet. make a whole podcast on his internet.
Oh yeah, Darren's gonna be getting upgraded internet.
Yeah, what that was about, if you didn't know, I have crappy internet, and my area is getting fiber by the end of this year, so it's a pretty big deal for me.
Yeah, big deal for him, and big deal for the podcast as well, because that means you might finally, folks, eventually see Darren's face.
Whoa!
Not just
you will
his
see my face.
I don't know if his face will appear during the live stream portion, or if it'll just be added in post. Either way, it's going to be added. That's all that really matters. Plus, I've been rolling this around in my head as we're starting to wrap up. Well, here, let's just start off with this. Just a little bit of an announcement. It'll be announced probably before you guys hear this podcast, but again, the more avenues I can get this out there, the better, because not everyone follows every single avenue possible. We have kind of been working hard behind the scenes, sort of behind the scenes. It's public, but no one knows about it, on revamping the website, NintendoPrime.net.
This is news to me.
Yes.
I did not know that.
So, over the past weekend, I spent, I don't even want to know how many hours. I basically used the entire weekend. One, it was when I found out about my mother going to the hospital, and I needed to distract myself with something, and regular video content just wasn't doing it for me. Maybe because I had to look at myself. I don't know. Like something about like looking at myself and trying to put on a fake smile just doesn't do it. So I was revamping the website because basically what happened when we registered for E3, when I went to register for E3, when we both did, is that we got rejected as media. Now, we didn't apply as a YouTube channel because our YouTube channel is nowhere near their requirements. Their requirements are insane for YouTube
yes,
channels.
it is.
100,000 subscribers, 50,000 views per video.
I thought it was 55.
Hmm?
I thought it was 55.
No, it's 50,000 views
okay.
per video on average.
Okay.
100,000 subscribers. Most people that have 100,000 subscribers are not averaging 50,000 views a video.
Right.
So you really need like 300,000 plus to even hit the requirements.
Mm-hmm.
We're not anywhere near that. We might never get to 300,000. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be one of those people that, I know I joked earlier about my goal of hitting 100,000 this year. Let's just get to 30 3,000. We're kind of stuck right now because we're not doing giveaways for a little bit, and at least not till after E3, and people are just not subscribing as much anymore, which isn't a shocker.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so let's just worry about growing from where we are now before we worry about that. But we're going to be many years away before we get to that. So, and we were like, well, is there any other way we could apply as media? Because in the past, when we went to E3, and anytime I sent anyone to E3 when I worked at Zelda Informer, you went as a website.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't know what the requirements were, because when I applied to Zelda Informer back in the day, they didn't say anything to me. They just said, hey, you're approved. 1 second. Gotta take a drink.
Yeah.
Fighting back a little cold here. I should have took my cold medicine. It's literally just sitting over there in a prescription bottle. Prescription cold medicine does the body good. So we applied through the website because we've had this website for the only requirements was that the website's been updated throughout the past 6 months, which I mean
the only publicly stated.
Yeah, it's so, like it's been updated, just like not regularly, but it's been updated, almost once a week at least. So you can imagine we don't have a lot of traffic there, and so we applied through that because the website's been up for a couple of years, and it got rejected. But we only got rejected not based on the quality of content, not based on anything other than the fact that we did not have the viewership requirements.
Mm-hmm.
Viewership requirements were 10,000 uniques per month for
per ticket.
Yeah, for one person to go.
Mm-hmm.
So for Eric and I to both go, we need 20,000 uniques. Here's the funny thing about that. We have a Facebook page with like 63,000 followers or whatever. It's by far our largest following anywhere. It's kind of lingering over from my Zelda Informer days. And, I experimented at the website over the span of a few days. And we can easily blow by 20,000 uniques in a month just advertising news posts on Facebook. So, at that point, I decided to revive the website. And Eric and I have been posting on it, but I hated the way the website looked. It looked very old school, very amateurish, and if I'm stepping up the quality of our videos here, professional mics, camera, etc., for our podcast and for everything else I do, I don't want people to come find news at a subpar website that isn't up to date with 2018. So spent the whole weekend, got that done, updated it. Eric went in and did some fine-tuning adjustments to it just because I just wasn't feeling up to it. And the fine-tune adjustments, it's just a visual thing, but it makes such a huge difference. At least to me, it makes a big difference. You guys are just going to go and enjoy. You guys don't need to worry about it.
You guys, I wish we would have taken a before and after picture.
Yeah. Oh, well, it exists. It's called Internet Archives. For anyone who even cares, no one's going to care about us. So, but the thing is, and what I want to point out about all of this is that our website kind of, sort of, is going to matter moving forward. I haven't picked an exact date. Like, I'm still throwing up a few posts, but there's going to be a day, probably before this podcast goes public, that we will be officially posting 10-plus posts a day, every day. Darren knows how hard that is. He's been there. That's what we did at Zelda Informer back in the day. But, yeah, we're basically turning NintendoPrime.net into what it always was intended to be when it was founded, which is a Nintendo news website. It's also going to have all of our videos, so our podcast and everything else can get posted there. So it's really like the one-stop shop for anything you want from Nintendo Prime will be NintendoPrime.net. So you'll be able to get all our YouTube content, all the news that we don't cover on YouTube, because there's a bunch of news we don't. Even in my Prime News segments, like that covers 5 to 6 stories a day. Well, if I'm doing 10+ news posts a day, there's obviously some stories, especially on indie titles that we're not covering on the YouTube channel. So there's that stuff. And then, and the website overhaul, by the way, it's like massive in terms of presentation. Everything from like us quoting people to how videos are presented to how the site is organized. Everything has changed to be easier to find. And maybe that's why we should probably lead off. Well, you know what? Yeah. So, but just go check it out if you care about that kind of stuff. You're going to see it tweeted on Twitter as well. And on Facebook, and probably a couple mentions in the community section. And I might do an announcement video on its own when I feel like we've hit a flow. I'm like, all right, let's start telling people, hey, look, like we have all this Nintendo news before we even make videos on it over here. But yeah, that's kind of exciting. And I actually kind of want to use that because I think we're going to skip to topic 2 first.
Okay.
Because I talked about improvements.
Right.
On usability,
right.
accessibility, finding content. And that's exactly what Nintendo wants to do with the eShop on Switch.
Mm-hmm.
They have come out and stated that the Nintendo eShop is, on Switch specifically, now that there's a lot more content there, they have said that they feel there's an issue finding content. Now, I'm not exactly sure what they mean by that. They don't really detail it beyond that, other than they're going to be working on improving the eShop over the course of the rest of this year to improve visibility or whatever. So my question, because I was just on the eShop just earlier this week, I got a game, Overcooked.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously, if you're looking for a specific game, it's never that hard because you can just go to search and search for it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all about discoverability and finding the games you don't know that you want. But kind of getting games out there is something that any digital shop's going to struggle with when you have a ton of content. Steam struggles with it, with the thousands of games that come out a day there. Don't get me started on Steam. But all platforms struggle with it. And I kept thinking, I'm like, I was using the eShop, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, Nintendo's released this stuff. I'm looking through the eShop. I don't really know what they can do. They've got upcoming, they've got bestsellers, they've got sales, they've got recently released, and they don't have any prioritization in any of it, right? So it's not AAA games showing up ahead of indie games. It's literally whatever your game is, based on when it was released and what time it was released on what day. That's the order recent release shows. Mm-hmm. You can go search by genre, by genre and stuff like that. Like, I'm kind of sitting there and I'm like, okay. You want to improve the discoverability, and I understand that because if you go through recently, you go through best-selling, and then you go through upcoming or whatever. I guess upcoming is kind of its own thing, but like recently and best-selling, a lot of it's pretty similar. Obviously, there's things in best-selling that aren't on recently, Minecraft, Overcooked, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of the stuff that's like in the top 6 most recent is usually in the top 20 bestsellers. So I kept thinking, I don't know what Nintendo can really do. I'm out of ideas, basically, on how they can improve the eShop experience. Because I already feel like
I really don't
good.
know how either, because I mean, I don't feel shortchanged when I visit the eShop. I mean, I buy physical whenever I can, but, I mean, whenever I go to the eShop, it's just, I'm curious about the bestsellers, or there's a specific digital-only game, like Cluster Truck, which I recently started playing.
Nice.
That I have heard about previously. I haven't discovered it on the eShop.
Sure.
I mean, yeah, I've looked through the eShop, on the bestsellers list, recent releases, just to browse around, but I really don't know what else I would want to look up different games, because, I mean, it seems like everything's already right there. I mean, recent releases, bam, right there. I mean, I'm not sure, is there a way to search by genre or no?
I think when you go to search, you could sort by genre. Somewhere in there you can sort by genre. Maybe it's not the search. Maybe it's when you go to recently added and then you get to the bottom and it says view all games. And I think once you go in there, there's a subsection on the left bar that lets you sort by genre.
So maybe instead of
you can bring that
genre
up, like
so deep into the structure, maybe bring that up a little bit further. And
yeah, maybe like recently released, because that's the default page.
Right.
So you have recently released, and then at the top, you have like a tab situation. I know not everyone's a favor of tabs, but this actually works in this case, where one of the tabs is just a drop-down menu where you select recent release by genre. Mm-hmm. And then you get like the latest 20 games that release in a specific genre that you enjoy. One thing I do think they can do, and this is all going to depend on how they track the data, is a recommended. This is something that Netflix and Hulu and every major streaming platform that isn't about video games does. They have recommended, and a lot of people discover new shows, new movies through recommended. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how they can do this, because they have to be collecting the data in the right way already to do it, and maybe they are. Maybe they're tracking what genre of games you have purchased on your account. Maybe they're tracking. Like I'm always even curious. Like when you watch say I'm just trying to think, just whatever, House of Cards on Netflix. How does it know not only it knows what genre it's in, but like it somehow knows a lot more than just the genre to when it's suggesting to you. It's not just suggesting to you the entire genre of House of Cards, the TV series. It's suggesting to you specific aspects inside that genre that are similar. Like it'll be political based, and then it'll be dark, and then it'll be dark humor. Like it finds all these subgenres that I don't think the eShop has.
Right.
Even though I can argue there's just as many subgenres in games.
Yeah.
But we just don't use them. It's an RPG. It's an adventure game. It's an action adventure game.
Like,
we don't have like.
That's about as detailed as we get. It's an action adventure.
Like I have never seen anything like we talk. Here's a popular one. Here's like a subgenre of RPG, JRPGs.
Yeah.
Western RPGs. We use that in the media, but I don't actually see any like back end shop one say this is a JRPG. This is a Western RPG. It's like no, they're just RPGs.
Yeah.
So what are you snickering about over there?
I just happen to think of, the times where the recommendation is not quite correct.
Well,
and
that's going to be a fault in any recommendation system.
I just remember the one time, I don't remember whose Netflix it was on. It was because you watched Ants. They recommended Human Centipede.
No.
No.
It wasn't just because of Ants. It's because Yulia watches a bunch of horror movies.
Yeah.
So they figure you like bugs, you like horror movies. Here's a bug horror movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But it was just like, the title that it said because you watched.
I know, but it's never based on.
Like,
it's never based on just the one thing you watch. Unless it's the first time you've used Netflix.
Yeah.
It's never just based on that. And what happened is, I was under Yulia's account. She watched Ants under her account with the kids instead of going to the kids' account.
Yeah.
So her account, if you ever look at her account on there, it's straight horror movies.
Yeah.
There will be nothing recommended to you but horror movies. So, you watched Ants once. We're not going to recommend another animated. We're giving you a horror movie that's related to ants in some way.
Human Centipede.
So I can see how that on the outside, like when you actually know the background behind the account.
But still, oh my god.
Yeah. So for those who know, Human Centipede is not a child-appropriate movie.
No.
It is a really gross horror movie.
I don't even really know if it's a person-appropriate movie anyways, but...
It's not that. I've seen it. It's not very good.
Yeah, there's that.
But the thing is, Yulia likes bad horror movies.
Well, yeah, so I do too.
Some people are into that kind of stuff. I'm not. I like good horror movies.
Like Jack Frost's Mutant Killer Snowman?
Yeah, I think that's stupid.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
But here's the thing. I like stupid comedies. So you win some, you lose some.
Yeah.
Darren, is there anything you think they could do to improve the eShop?
Like I said, I really don't feel shortchanged when I visit the eShop. I mean, I don't even use it that much. So, I mean, for other people, yeah, probably. I mean, all of what you said.
DLC?
DLC, yeah.
You gotta go through the eShop for that.
DLC would be nice. But, I mean, for what I use it for, not really.
One way they could... This is just a usability thing. One way they can improve the eShop from a DLC's perspective, because a lot of the games you play will have a subsection inside the game menu for DLC to go buy it. And I understand that you're going to purchase that through the eShop, but I feel like it should just be an overlay that loads the eShop instead of... Because what it does is it minimizes the game and then loads the eShop like you went to the home menu.
Yeah.
Right.
That's something that's just from a usability perspective that, like, okay, you shouldn't have to do that. Other systems have it where it's just like an overlay, and you can just hit B and you're out of it right away, rather than going, because like here I think you purchase it, and then sometimes it doesn't even take you back to the game. You have to go back to the home menu, then back into the game. And by then, if you're playing a game that's got an online connection, it might be like, oh, you disconnected, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, really? I was just online buying your DLC.
Yeah, right.
There's that. Another thing, this is a more of a system-wide thing as well, and we've noticed it. It doesn't download games or DLC while you're playing a game.
Yeah.
Every other platform in the world downloads while you're playing a game.
It can download in the background.
The only time it shouldn't is if you're playing an online game. That I understand. Limited bandwidth. So even if your internet can handle it, there's limited bandwidth between the Wi-Fi cards and stuff. So I understand that, but like when I'm playing Super Mario Odyssey, go right ahead and download what I just purchased. In fact, I expect it to be there 2 hours from now when I'm done playing Odyssey.
Right. That's why I went to play Odyssey, is because
Yeah.
I was waiting for it to download.
Yeah, that is another thing. But again, these are usability improvements. These aren't necessarily visibility improvements. So, like, beyond recommended, which well, that might be a bit. That's a huge addition on its own if they added recommended.
I think for one of the bigger improvements, just by genre thing, would be best selling. Best selling by genre would be fantastic,
Sure, well,
because
just adding genre to any category they already have.
Right.
So they already have a best selling category.
Yeah.
So let people sort it by genre.
Because
they
then,
already have
because
a
then you're not going to be
sales
seeing
category.
the overall things. You're going to be seeing like a specific category that you might like more than others. You don't care if, like, let's say a fighting game is in the top selling. You might not like fighting games. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm not saying they're good. But you might not like it. So you might want to go, find your RPG or whatever that's
ideally
might not be on the...
This is how it should be done. In an ideal world, when you're going to start adding ways to organize content by what people want to find, having as many options as possible. And this could be something like as 2D versus 3D. I know that's not exactly... 100%. What if it's a 2.5D game or whatever? But the point is, like, letting I hate even saying this, sorting by indie and AAA or whatever, because then how do you determine AAA? Well, I guess Nintendo's telling us.
Yeah,
that's a AAA game.
Yeah.
But like finding, like, giving all these checkbox things,
right?
Like
an advanced
sort
search
it
type
by
of thing.
yeah. Like, there's no advanced way to search like that. So, like, if you could give all those options, that also is like, look, now you're letting the user do it. Another thing, and this is also with customizing, is being able to customize how the eShop loads up for us. Say we always want it to load up with the bestseller list. So let us have it auto-select the bestseller list right away instead of giving us the recently released. And Nintendo might be like, well, then we can't control anything. It doesn't matter. Let the user control it. Like, personally, I would probably have the recommended appear first. The recommended probably should appear first.
Yeah.
Maybe they could reorganize the entire first page that shows up to be more like Netflix, where you have your recently bought games. I don't know why you'd want that, but maybe it just reminds you what you've already bought. Then you've got your recommended based on what you've bought. And then you have the next row is recently released. And instead of scrolling down with like 20 games for one thing, have it scroll left to right.
Yeah.
And have 20 games listed that way for multiple categories that appear right away on page one.
Right.
What I think is, organization-wise, Netflix has already shown the way. So is Hulu. Like, they basically both do it the same way.
Right.
I know they both also have like the giant ads at the top advertising their own stuff when they release it, and I understand Nintendo could do that. I don't think they are going to, because while that increases visibility, it's just increasing visibility of their games. And then you're only increasing visibility of games that you pick out rather than letting everyone have a fair shot.
Right. Well, and I could see them doing that for like their own games, for like a 3-second thing or a 5-second ad, just like when it first loads up, having like a Super Mario Odyssey type thing ad, and then just having it fade away into the...
To us, we don't mind because we're Nintendo fans, but people who bought Switch to play indie games are going to be like, you're just wasting my time, get out of my way. I want to get to my stuff. So I don't know, like, for...
But that's also why I said like a 3 to 5 second ad,
for a
which
user
is
experience,
terrible.
Well, see, it's just like on YouTube. Like, for a user experience, no ads.
Right.
The thing is, like, on YouTube, users are generally okay with ads, or if they're not, they get YouTube Red, because they understand that the content can't exist unless there's money. Whereas these ads aren't existing for money purposes. They're just there to try to make people buy more Nintendo games. It's showing bias towards Nintendo games, which you expect.
Because it is Nintendo.
But then again, Nintendo's games don't need that extra advertising.
Right. No, and like I said, that would be one way I could see him doing it.
Example, Kirby Star Allies, #1 seller in Japan, UK, and United States. Anyways,
right.
That was just number 3 in the UK.
That was just one way I could see him doing it. And being slightly okay with it. Would be just like a 3-second ad that just kind of pops up and then all of a sudden just goes away.
I don't think they need to do that. Because I think when Nintendo talks about increasing visibility, they're not even talking about their own games. They're listening to complaints from indie devs and AAA companies. So they got to think of ways that increase visibility for those games. Nintendo titles, look at the best selling. They dominate the best selling charts. They don't need help with their games. So that's really the only thing I can think of is that recommended, and then the extra options of sorting by genre and
an advanced search type of thing.
Beyond that,
I mean, I'm glad Nintendo's being vocal about this. To be honest, I mean, it's like, hey, we think our eShop is subpar, so we're gonna fix that.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, the eShop itself, I don't even think is that bad. This wasn't even
No,
something that I thought, oh, you know what, they really need to improve on that. But this also means they're not, they didn't get this from consumers. They got this from other companies that are like, hey, look, yes, our indie game sold well, but maybe it would have sold better if people could find it after day one.
Mm-hmm.
So another thing that they could do, I know people don't like hearing this, home menu is kind of barren. They could put like an ad spot on the home menu that's just like latest from the eShop. So you don't even have to go to the eShop to see some of the latest games that came out, like the top 5 latest games.
Right.
Like a little scroll thing. And I understand some people aren't going to like that. They don't like ads. They hate it on PlayStation. They hate it on Xbox. I get it, but it's effective.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about increasing visibility, and that's a way to do it without... If you can make people, like Darren, who doesn't go to the eShop very often, if you can make him aware of games coming out without him having to go to the eShop,
Right.
Yeah.
more likely to open that eShop up and actually play
Right.
the game if it looked cool in the ad.
For me, that type of ad where it doesn't affect anything, as long as it doesn't get in the way of you doing anything that you want.
It should not take up a game slot.
Right.
Like, don't do that. Even though it's not that bad to like skip past the game slot, don't do that. It should either be above or below, probably below, so it's easier for your eyes to avoid it if you don't want to see it. And there should be ability to turn it off in the options, of course.
Yes.
Like on by default, but then like, oh, I want to turn it off.
Yeah.
And this again gets to customize. Like they're using an Android kind of based OS. Let us customize things a little bit.
Right.
Like, why can't we
That is the
theme
one-
yet, Nintendo?
That is the one nice thing about
We could theme
Androids
on
and
3DS.
stuff. Yeah.
Why can't we theme on Switch? Just saying, it's not that hard. I guarantee you that this operating system you're using supports custom theming. You're just not allowing it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you're afraid of what people will do, but you know what? It's their system. Let them do what they want. Nintendo doesn't like that.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll hop back to what topic 1 was going to be. And that's because if we don't get to the last topic, oh well, sorry.
Yeah, right.
So Nintendo is hosting a Smash Bros. And Smash Bros. For Switch, by the way. So yes, it's going to be playable at E3 confirmed. Kind of figured that, but like playable in a huge way. A Smash Bros. For Switch Invitational at E3 and a Splatoon 2 Invitational. Splatoon 2 is actually more like a
The World Championship. Yep, that's what they called it.
They just announced it all as an invitational, but it's really the invitational is Smash, and there is like an invite thing to the World Championships because all the play-in tournaments are pre-selected teams. How they selected these teams, they've never let anybody know. They've done this before, so it's like, how do you know these are the best Splatoon teams out there? You didn't give us any background on like how you determined that these were the ones worthy of competing.
Where they came from, how they got to where they are.
But then again, for all we know, they are going to the esports leagues, the few Splatoon leagues that exist in given countries, and they are taking the champions of various tournaments, for all we know. Because Nintendo has been more actively involved in paying like event costs and stuff like that for hosting events. So, that being said, what's really cool about the Splatoon one is, in particular, there is an open invite. So there is the tournaments for the pre-selected teams, where the top one team, I think whoever wins that tournament from each country gets to come. I think there is 3 countries right now, and they're working on. I think they said there'll be future updates for Australia and like 3 other countries. So they're trying to get it so I think it's like 6 or 7 international teams. And then there's an open, worldwide open, that anyone can enter. It's happening entirely online. You form a team of 4 people, and it's like on the 31st. Is it? I don't even know. It might even be this month for all I know. I got to double check the date. And yeah, you go online at whatever time when they release more details on it with your 4 friends, and you compete in a massive tournament. And if you win it, you are invited to compete. You and your 4 people are invited to compete at E3.
Nice.
Which I'm just like, that's how we get into E3.
That's how we get into E3. Wait,
That,
but
Eric and I, that's 2 of the teammates.
The only problem is...
That means we need 2 of the best Splatoon 2 players in the world to carry us.
The only problem is you're better when drunk, so...
Well, that's fine.
Or you're better when buzzed. I
don't
think
my water bottle is just going to be vodka.
Oh, okay, got it. Because I was going to say, I don't think they're going to, be happy about you pounding booze.
No,
well,
it'll just be vodka, or I'll have orange juice with tequila.
There you go. Orange tequila?
Yeah, it's okay if it's mixed.
Okay.
I can't have it on its own. That's my issue.
Okay.
Well, seriously, if it's mixed, I'm fine. If any alcohol that I hate is mixed, I'm fine.
Interesting.
Yeah, because it dilutes it.
Right.
It's the
Yeah,
pure
no, yeah,
taste
yeah,
I
yeah.
can't handle. Not that I enjoy it either way, but although in margaritas, if it's like my fourth one, I'm feeling pretty good.
You don't even notice by then.
Don't even know it. No, you still taste a little bit. Like, funny how it tastes better more and more of them you have.
Yeah, right.
Anyways, so that's a thing that's happening.
Yeah.
Splatoon 2 wise, the Smash one. Trying to remember exactly how that one works. There is something going on, like a preliminary on the 11th and 12th. To get into the stuff happening on the 12th through the 14th, and it's happening in LA. We'll be there technically, so like if it's an open invite thing, we potentially could go and try to compete in it. Probably not going to. Just saying that it's an option that's out there. Well, I'll at least find out where the venue is, and maybe we could stop out at it.
Find some footage.
Maybe. This probably all. It could be behind the scenes for all we know.
Yeah.
I have no idea. But it's So they're doing a Smash 5 tournament, which a lot of professional Smash players and just Smash fans in general are going to want to try to get in on if they can. And we'll be there at E3 seeing this stuff, the tournament happening, because if it's anything like it was last year, the tournament literally happens right there inside the booth.
Mm-hmm.
So like you can sit there and watch the tournament, or you can play games or do whatever, or do both. So it's going to be kind of cool to see that. And it's definitely, obviously, again, Nintendo pushing esports right there at E3 with their games. Like, this is the second year in a row, I think, for Splatoon 2. Or the third. It might be the third year in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Splatoon 2 is just going strong, man. Obviously, Smash, and we'll see if Smash makes an appearance again next year. Because, obviously, with Splatoon 2 coming out last year and still having a tournament this year, then it could happen again and again and again.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, Nintendo does the Nintendo World Championships now. So who knows when we're going to have another one of those.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we're going to have one this year. They might go every other year, though, hit again next year, and then all these games come back.
Yeah.
Man, Nintendo World Championships, I so wish they would have kept that going when I was a kid. I mean, I know I could still compete at this age, but I was a lot more into these competitive games than I was a kid than I am today.
Well, my reflexes were also a hell of a lot better back then, too.
It's not even my reflexes. Like, factually, if you're younger, your hand-eye coordination is supposed to be slightly better. But it's not even that. There's people my age and above that are massively amazing. I have a father now. I just don't have the time to get that good. So, just stopping there, are you guys happy these tournaments are happening again? Because they do take up massive segments of what people at home see.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of Trio showing footage of new games, you're seeing Splatoon 2 and just Smash. For large, hours of time.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Darren.
What was that?
Wasn't even
Cut out
paying
for a
attention.
second.
You want to repeat the question?
So is it good that these tournaments are back at E3? And I'm talking about for the at-home audience. Specifically because since Nintendo started doing these tournaments, they take up massive chunks of time on over a 3-day slate of Nintendo Treehouse's streaming time. And, as an example, a huge chunk of that time is going to be taken up by Splatoon 2 versus showing a new game.
I mean, on one hand, yeah, because these sort of events, people like them. It draws more attention to, the esports world. But it seems to me like this is not going to affect Nintendo announcing games at all. Because, let's be honest, they have a set amount of games they're going to announce. And they're going to fill up the rest of the time with, let's play these games and have these tournaments. So I really don't care. I think it's good. I'll probably watch some of it, especially the Smash tournaments. But Splatoon 2 as well. I don't think it's a bad thing, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, my thing is, I don't think it's bad on the whole. But, it's going to be happening each day over 3 days. Mm-hmm. It usually takes up at, the final hour or the final 2 hours. And the reason that I even say this is because why I just a little bit concerned. Because I keep thinking back to when we went to E3.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have any tournaments that year, I don't believe. And
not that I know.
It was because it was just
straight
Zelda.
Breath of the Wild.
It was just Zelda, and they showed a lot of Zelda, and repeated a lot of their gameplay and repeated things. And I know that might have tired some people out, but what people forget, about these live stream things is that people, especially during E3, they have jobs, they have lives. They're not there watching, what they saw at what they showed at 11 a.m. to noon. People who weren't able to watch that would love to see it live again, 6 hours later when the live stream's still going. So while it sucks,
basically they did. Let's be honest. Breath of the Wild was literally.
Well, no. That's what they did then. That's what I'm saying. But now that you add these tournaments in, they don't do that. Is there's less time to repeat content, meaning that you get done with work at 5, go home, rush home because you want to see what's happening on the Treehouse stream, and it's a tournament. You missed everything. You missed all of it, and the chances of that person being like, you know what, I'm going to go back and watch 5 hours worth of live stream stuff to find something I'm interested in is slim to none. So that's like my concern is that people who aren't taking E3 off and watching it the whole time might be like, well,
so
I missed everything.
The tournaments during the day, and then the game announcements and gameplay at night.
But they don't do that. Night. That's not what they do. They always end with the tournament.
Yeah,
right.
It's true.
Because, and I think one reason they end with the tournament is because it also takes up a lot of space in the booth, and they're trying to maximize the booth throughout the day.
Right.
So it's really hard to run that tournament right in the middle of people trying to play demos.
Right. For me, if they could actually multi-stream, give you an option.
Oh, they're not going to do that.
I don't know why you wouldn't.
They'd have to have multiple channels. There's no way built into Twitch and YouTube for you to select one stream or another. You'd have to have multiple channels to do it. So they would have to split their audience. And not just split it in a big way. They'd have to build up an entire second YouTube channel and an entire second Twitch channel to do it. Just for E3.
I could see them building up a Treehouse channel.
They do it. Okay, let me give you something here. Nintendo does a really crappy job at social media.
Well,
Their following on YouTube, Twitch, and everywhere else is kind of pathetic.
Yeah.
For how many fans they have. So they even fathom them trying to build up a second place just to offer an alternative stream at E3.
No, I'm just saying that is an option. I'm not saying that they're gonna do it.
It's a bad option.
No, it's a fantastic option. They just won't do it.
No, it's a bad option. The option that they should do is just don't live stream. Don't live stream the event, the tournament. Have the tournament happen and have all your commentary, have it recorded, and then after, because what there is there's limited hours in the show floor, right? So like it opens at 9, and I think their Treehouse stuff starts right away at 9 or it starts at 11. I can't remember, one of the two, and then it runs until 7 p.m. when the show floor is done. That's fine. When the show floor is done, they're done. But then from 7 to 9, it's a replay of the tournament. So everyone at home who has no idea what's happening, even they might be on forums and they might find out who won or whatever, but they didn't get to see any of it.
Yeah,
will get to watch the tournament if they want to, and get to watch it like right away when the E3 stuff is done. That's how I would do it. Now, some might argue, well, then it's not live and you miss the live reactions. And I'm like, yeah, but they're not really reading the chat and stuff during this stuff anyways.
Right.
So that's not as relevant. It can still be a community event because between 7 and 9 they're live streaming the pre-recorded tournament, so you're still going to have all the interactions with each other. Yeah, you have people spoiling it in the chat, but the chat's moving so fast, whatever. I understand that there's pitfalls to even that idea, but I just think that the content at E3 itself is more important than the tournaments.
The only other thing I could think of, too, and I don't know how you would do this, but after the show floor closes, then host a tournament. They
could do that, but I think the issue there's just because
you'd have to try to contain people to that one section.
Well, here's the thing: it's not even just containing people. You have to do it past when the show floor opens. You need E3's security team to be willing to stay later.
Right.
You have to be willing to even hire your own security in addition to the E3 security. You have to not only just contain the tournament. How many fans are you going to let in to watch it? Because part of what makes it such a cool experience watching it live is there's a giant whole bunch of people watching.
Right.
So while they can do that, and again, they've hosted tournaments at other venues before, so it's not like this isn't possible. The thing is, at E3, it's not just their venue.
No, I know.
So, like, there's a lot of stuff they got.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure.
Not that Nintendo can't afford to do it, but I don't think that they would feel it's worth the money to do it.
Right.
And I think they like that B-roll footage.
Right.
They love
Yeah.
that. Oh, between matches we can pan out to all of E3.
Oh, yeah,
People
yeah.
are walking around.
Right. Yeah.
And you can't do that if the floor's dead. There's no one there.
Right.
Because what are you gonna do? Hey, everyone knows the show floor is closed, but hey, look at this footage of everyone walking around the show floor as if it's
Live.
As if it's open.
Wait.
It's live, but it's not live. The thing is, here's the thing: a lot of you guys listening will be like, "I love watching the tournaments live," and I agree.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I really enjoy it, but I'm also the person. Well, one, this year I'll be there. But when I'm at home, I'm also one of those people that's at home watching that live stream from when it starts until when it's done. And that's not even the only live stream I'm watching. I've got the IGN stream up. I got the GameSpot one up. I've got Easy Allies up. I got all these different. Well, Easy Allies doesn't do a live stream during the event. They do it after. But I have all these different live streams up because if you know anything about E3, it's not the Treehouse isn't the only stream that matters for Nintendo fans. It shouldn't be anyways, because Shigeru Miyamoto, Eiji Aonuma, Reggie, they all appear in interviews and things showing off their games on IGN and other places that, because they have their own audiences that are watching their streams and not watching the Treehouse stream. And sometimes you get new information, new footage. Sometimes there's even times IGN especially will get like an exclusive look at a level that they're not even going to be showing on Treehouse. So you got to watch all this. So it's weird, when you watch my E3 setup. I have like one screen with like 7 different live streams going on it, and I'm switching between which one's audio is muted to see what's going on. And sometimes the Trio stream just ends up muted most of the time because I'm like, okay, they're showing off Splatoon 2 again.
Yeah.
All right, done.
Yeah.
Like this game came out last year. Now, yeah, the Octoling DLC, that's a huge deal, and I'll listen to the new stuff on that. But sometimes the Trio stuff gets a little repetitive, and you can be like, oh, cut that stuff out, but then they can't because, again, the repetitive nature is intentional because you don't know when people are tuning in. So, for me personally, obviously, I'm fine with the way it is. I'm thinking of more just the people that aren't going to go back and rewatch 5 hours worth of footage.
Right.
They'll watch the digital event. That's a separate thing. They always upload that separately anyways, the digital event. So I'm not worried about that. But I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah.
Besides that, we're not going to dive too deep into desires, but we're just going to go around the panel here and go one big thing we want to see happen at E3 for Nintendo. We're not even going to discuss it. Just tell me what it is. And I guess I'll go first since I put you guys on the spot a little. Well, I kind of mentioned hopes and desires in the thing, but
yeah.
The one big thing I want to see happen. We already know Smashes there. We already know these invitationals. The one big thing I want to see happen is Eiji Aonuma appear in that Nintendo Digital event and announce a 2D top-down Zelda game for Switch. Brand new.
That'd be interesting.
I mean, I'd love for it to be a 3D, but I'm trying to be a little more realistic. They could toss out a 2D one. And you know what? I'll even pair a Skyward Sword HD announcement along with it.
2D top-down as in
like
2D
a Link Between Worlds.
Top-down or
like a Link Between Worlds.
Not 2D.
It's basically 2D. Get out of here with that 2.5D crap. It's a top-down Zelda game. Whether or not it's
2D.
a sprite or whether or not it's that 2.5D look, it's the exact same.
The camera literally
gameplay.
changes the view, so it's not 2D.
Oh
I will show you videos.
Yeah, you're talking about when he merges into the wall. The only reason
in Triforce Heroes, you're literally going to a third-person view, looking at Link's back.
Oh my God.
Same engine.
When do you do that in Triforce Heroes?
When you fight the ice boss.
I do not remember ever looking at Link's back besides what you normally see of his back.
I will link you the video.
Okay. And I beat Triforce Heroes. So, and all the DLC content.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I do not remember that at all. I mean, I remember people hated playing with others online because people like to be dicks.
Throw people off the cliff.
But
that was the most fun game with friends.
I enjoyed my online, so I don't know. Anyways, I'll look at that footage later. But yeah, what I mean is a top-down Zelda game. Like in, we could argue about 2D or 2.5D all we want. A Link Between Worlds minus the merging mechanic is literally a Link to the Past. It doesn't matter if it's 2.5D or 2D with sprites. It's the same difference, gameplay-wise.
So not going too far into depth, we kind of went...
No, we didn't. No, trust me.
I know.
This
I know
argument on
went...
2D.2... Aaron and I have had this on the Zelda Forward podcast for like 45 minutes before. It's an old debate.
Yeah,
It's an old
yeah.
debate over what counts as 2.5D, what's 2D. Is 2.5D even a thing, or is that just something we're making up because we can't explain it otherwise?
Right.
'Cause it's not 3D, but it doesn't, like, we call Ocarina of Time 3D, and then you look at Link Between Worlds, you're like, oh, it's not the same thing.
But it's not 2D. but it's
I mean,
not-
that's why there's the
Yeah.
whole, you can just call that top-down Zelda. But then what happens when they screw that up and make a full 3D tactical RPG top-down Zelda game or something crazy?
Whoa.
Well, now
Whoa.
I'm getting into
Whoa.
some fan dream territory.
Nate.
All right, Darren, give me one big thing you want to happen at E3 for Nintendo that we don't already know.
Okay. Game reveal. Animal Crossing in the vein of, the original on GameCube, New Leaf, City Folk, a mainline, normal Animal Crossing game. That's good.
Sweet.
Nice.
Got it. What do you got for
Not
me, Eric?
saying New Leaf isn't good. I absolutely love New Leaf. I'm just saying I hope it doesn't suck.
Right.
We got one big
One big thing.
Anything. It doesn't have to
I
be
know
a
it's
game.
not going to happen, but
Like,
Pokemon. I am.
how do you know it's not gonna happen? I mean, the only way is they've never announced shown off a Pokemon game for its first time ever at E3.
Right. The only reason why I don't, just because of Smash being there, and
Smash
Splatoon,
is not even close to as big as Pokemon.
Yeah, I know, but it just
Not
feels
even
like there's
the
a.
same conversation.
It just feels like there's a a ton of big games already there, so it's just the way I feel. But
Besides Smash, what's the other big game there?
I don't know. So
It's funny. Your argument is
It
they
just
can't
feels-
show off Pokemon
Animal
because of
Crossing,
Smash, and
Animal
they're like,
Crossing.
yeah, but that's it. There is
Yeah.
nothing else. They need something like Pokemon.
yeah,
If they don't have Pokemon there, it'll be very disappointing unless they hit us with Animal Crossing.
right.
And
Or
like
something,
every
yeah.
like every other IP they hit us with fine. They
Yeah.
hit us with Metroid Prime 4 fine, but like
Yeah.
Pokemon
Some sort of something.
They announced it a year ago. We
Yeah.
gotta see it.
Right. Even if it's just confirming whether it's a reboot or not, or
I don't think they'll do that without showing it.
right, or eventually we're gonna get concept. You'd hope concept art, something.
Who's that Pokemon?
It's I don't have a freaking clue because it's number 895.
So okay, so what is the big thing you want to see? Since you didn't think Pokemon was going to be there,
Well, I love to see Pokemon.
that's what you want to
Yes,
happen.
that's what I want to happen.
Okay,
Whether it's actually going to
out
happen.
of all the things we talked about, yours is like 85% chance it's happening.
Oh, all right.
It might get announced and unveiled before E3, but we will see Pokemon at E3. I guarantee it. Guarantee it, because I guarantee it's coming out this fiscal year. Might not come out in 2018, but it'll come out before the end of this fiscal year.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
They need it.
Yeah.
They absolutely need it.
Yeah.
Smash alone's not going to carry sales for them.
Yeah.
So,
So Nate wants a Link Across Islands.
no,
Eric
no,
wants
no,
Link Across
I want Animal Crossing.
no, I don't actually. Well, yeah, I like concept.
Nate, do you even know what I'm referencing?
I know exactly what you're referencing.
Okay.
Okay, we just had this conversation yesterday, I think.
Yeah, we did.
All right. I'm looking at the time over there. Looks like we got a few minutes left. Hit that third topic quick. Phil Spencer reminded the world that he still wants Banjo and Kazooie in Smash Bros. He's been advocating it for a long time, like a decade now. And obviously with the recent announcement of Smash for Switch, a fan asked him, do you still want it to happen? And he said yes. Now, some people talked about how maybe why it hasn't happened is licensing fees and blah, blah, blah. At this point, I don't think, because they make nothing right now off of Banjo Kazooie, that I don't think licensing fees are really a barrier. I'm pretty sure Microsoft would just be happy for the advertising because it would help sell more rare replays on Xbox. So my thought process isn't that Banjo Kazooie has never been added to Smash because of licensing fees and needing to get it from Microsoft. Rather, it hasn't been added because Sakurai has never once put in a character, third-party wise, that has been anything that is outside Japan. He's never done it. I don't know if he has any interest in ever doing it. That's why when some people are like, "Oh, well, Crash get included," I'm like, "Crash was made in the West."
Yep.
So don't count on it.
Yeah.
Until he does it, I have no reason to believe he's going to. Basically,
Right.
doesn't mean I don't want him to. I would love to see Crash Bandicoot in Smash. I would love to see Banjo Kazooie in Smash.
Yeah.
I'm sure the people behind those games would love to see it happen.
Mm-hmm.
But Sakurai, he's kind of biased to Japan.
Yeah. Holy cow.
I knew that one was coming too.
Yeah.
Oh man, am I alive?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Okay. No, another interesting concept that I watched a video from Mason of Delfino last night, and he was showing a concept of a character that somebody had made up. It was a Nintendo Labo.
Oh,
it was a Nintendo Labo guy carrying around a Joy-Con.
I could see them. You want to answer that? I didn't even get a phone call.
It's done. It ended. I don't know.
She did call me. Why did my phone ring? I was holding it.
I don't know. Time out.
Oh, now she's calling. Hello? Hello? I was literally holding my phone and looking at it and nothing happened. What? It charged again? I'm just gonna close my account. Jesus Christ. Okay, hon. Well, I'm in the middle of a podcast recording, so I'll give you the $9 back. Relax. I did. I went in, canceled your card, put my card on. So I don't know. I've done this before too, and it charged you. So I'm just gonna close the account. I'm in the middle of recording, hon. We could do this. We already know what it is. I didn't lie. Okay, you can. You know what, hon? You can think whatever you want. I never lied about it. Okay. No, I don't. And it's really sad that you think that. Bye. She is in a mood.
Okay. Back to the podcast.
Yeah, back to the podcast.
Nintendo, yeah.
I actually think Nintendo Labo, they put Duck Hunt in there.
Yeah.
They put Game & Watch. I mean, I know those are more video game-ish than Labo.
Right. But it was actually kind of a cool concept.
They could put Labo.
Screw Labo. Put my boys Ice Climbers in there. Come on.
Well, yeah. Well, obviously.
I think Ice Climbers is like coming back for sure.
Right. Obviously.
Like Sakurai said, the only reason it didn't happen is because of the 3DS.
Mm-hmm.
So they're coming back. I'm not worried. I'm not concerned. Put it this way: Ice Climbers is not a concern of mine because they will be there.
Mm-hmm.
Labo, that is kind of interesting if they actually brought in some, because I know it's weird, but you think like there's a robot version. It's like you think of if you could like do transformations, like your down B and up B's a transformation into a different Labo with different abilities.
Mm-hmm. What it was like a little cardboard guy carrying around a Joy-Con.
Sure.
A red Joy-Con.
Yeah.
And then he could throw the Joy-Con, and then his down B or his down smash was him turning into, I think, the piano, and then smashing down. It was actually pretty cool.
Well, yeah.
So
fun little concept.
Yeah, right.
So getting back to Banjo Kazooie, which is
yes.
why you changed the topic about Banjo Kazooie. That's surprising to me.
Yeah.
With how much you love
Partially.
Banjo Kazooie.
Yeah.
No, like entirely.
No, I know.
But it's so. What's really interesting about that, setting aside the fact that this is really up to Sakurai, is that Rare has now come out and their CEO has publicly stated that they are looking or considering outside companies to revive their old IP. We assume, we don't know because that's all they said, that would include a Banjo Kazooie. That would include, maybe even Perfect Dark. That would include, Conquer. All these franchises they don't use anymore that come from pre-Connect days, let's say. And maybe it's because they know they're going to be focusing on Sea of Thieves for a while. Maybe they know they're just going to be making new IPs or whatever the case may be. They probably don't think, after nuts and bolts, that they really have the capability to make those games in the spirit of what they used to be. So my question is, and I've seen a lot of Nintendo sites pick this up, which I thought was interesting because it's not really Nintendo news. On the surface, Rare is owned by Microsoft.
Right.
So just like Nintendo looking for outside companies to make some of their games, whatever outside company they get is likely just making the game for Xbox. So I don't know why this is even news on Nintendo websites, but I think it's because us Nintendo fans are looking for any excuse.
Yeah.
Any hope.
Yeah.
That not only can we see Banjo Kazooie and Conquer and Perfect Dark and stuff appear on. Why is my flashlight?
I don't know. I was just gonna
appear on that stuff. What we need is them to allow a third-party studio to make the games and become multi-platform. And if that's the case, then Switch comes back into the equation. Now, I don't know how interested Microsoft is in that, but I think Microsoft these days is more open to the idea of their games appearing on other platforms than they used to be. Now, I don't know if that's because they're going to concede the Xbox is going to fall away as like a standalone system, or if they're just conceding to the fact that we make more money, or the games that we make the most money from are the games that are on multiple platforms, like a Minecraft. So it could be like, look, we know there's a huge Nintendo audience for Banjo Kazooie. Look at all the platformers that sell like crazy on there.
Right.
You know, let's get someone to make it and also bring it to Switch and Xbox and everything. Obviously, my pipe dream at this point is that Retro Studios is allowed to make a Banjo Kazooie because they're basically the new Rare.
Yeah.
But especially what they did with Donkey Kong, like okay, if they can make a Donkey Kong Country game, let's see what else they can do with other Rare made games.
Right.
But maybe that's why we haven't heard from them.
Maybe
they already are.
They're in process of making a Banjo Kazooie,
and they literally can't talk about it because it's a dual rights thing.
Yes.
It's Nintendo Studio, but Microsoft owned rights.
Right. Oh, there it is.
And like,
starting to rumor now.
It might be a timed exclusive on Switch, but it's going to be multi-plat. Or like it'll come out on Xbox and Switch at the same time, but the retail version is exclusive to Switch for like a few months.
Got it. Let's start that rumor.
Let's start it now. You heard it here. You heard it here first.
Prime rumors.
Prime rumors. My dad's uncle, who works at Microsoft, and then my sister's cousin, which we're all family.
Right.
This is my cousin. My sister's cousin is my cousin.
Yeah, right.
One of my cousin works at Retro. They have corroborated these reports.
Yeah.
These things are just made up in my head.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're literally in my head speaking to me right now.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So, you guys have any thoughts on... Because I think Nintendo, even us talking about it, like I think it's a huge stretch for us to even contemplate that Microsoft is considering going third-party with Rare and their IPs. Like multi-plat. I think that's insane. I think... Again, I understand why Nintendo sites are reporting on this and picking it up, why we're talking about it. I think all three of us can agree that we would love any semblance of old Rare games back.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
In any way. Even if it's not on Switch. Even if it is Xbox, we want it to happen. But, I mean, do you guys agree with me that this seems like a bit of... Just the idea that... where we as Nintendo fans are talking about what's probably Xbox exclusive games, as if we have any sort of hope it's coming to Switch. Like, is this even ridiculous that this is even a thing that's happening? I think like nostalgia. Like I mean, like any excuse to talk about this is great, but it's like, but we're Nintendo Prime, not Xbox Prime.
But I mean, my boy Crash is coming to Switch, so.
Yeah, but Crash was already technically owned by a third-party studio. It wasn't owned by a first-party. Crash was never owned by Sony. So
it was just exclusive.
Well, that happens.
Yeah, no, I know. No, yeah, I'm just saying.
It's like Bayonetta. You know, Bayonetta 3 and 2 are on Nintendo platforms, but Nintendo doesn't own Bayonetta.
Right.
So.
Right. For me, it is a stretch, but it's one that is there to be thought about just because of the fact that Phil said he's okay with Banjo Kazooie being in Smash.
But that's old news. Like literally, people even report us even talking about it. It's like, but he's been saying that for 10 years.
I get
and
that.
All he said was yes.
Right. No,
it's not like he went deep into it. Someone just asked him, "Do you still want him to Smash?" Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what all the news is based on. Yes. It's like, okay, well, obviously he likes Nintendo and wants him to Smash.
Right.
What company doesn't want their mascot characters in Smash? It is free advertising out the butt.
Yes.
That's why when people talk about licensing fees, I'm sorry. I'm
pretty
telling you
sure
right now
that
most studios are knocking at the door to give Nintendo the rights for the character.
Yeah.
To pay Nintendo to put their characters in the game.
Right. They would waive those licensing fees.
Well, as an example, I highly doubt Nintendo paid a licensing fee to have Snake appear in the game.
Yeah.
Or Cloud.
Right.
Guarantee you Square Enix and Konami knocked on their damn door and said, hey, if you're looking for extra characters for Smash, you can have these.
Right. Or if Nintendo approached them, they're like, oh, yeah. and then
because it's free. It is free advertising. It's advertising in a weird way, of course. I always felt like, when Cloud was included in Smash, it's like, oh, cool, so Final Fantasy VII's coming to Switch or coming to Wii U at the time.
right.
Because Final Fantasy VII, HD remaster or whatever just got announced. I'm like, oh, okay, well, this obviously if you're advertising Cloud on a Nintendo platform through Smash, and we view it as advertising. Some people say, oh, it's just a cool, iconic character. I get that, but still, it's like,
Yeah.
But it could be an advertising situation. It should be.
Right, exactly. It would be a great way to announce a game.
Or even announce a port.
Right.
The Cloud at the time, Final Fantasy VII was already known.
Right.
So, a port. But at the same breath, at this point, anyone who wants Final Fantasy VII HD remastered, they're still waiting. Kingdom Hearts 3 was announced ages ago. People are still waiting. When was Half-Life 3 announced? Was I 10?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, no, I think I was 12 or 13 when Half-Life 3 was announced. I'm 31 going on 32. Still not here. So, it's one of those things where I think we're just getting our hopes up. I don't know. What do you think, Darren?
I mean, the fact that he's talking about this right now.
Who's talking about it?
Phil Spencer.
But he's not. He's really. He just replied to a fan. He's very active on Twitter like that. He always replies to fans.
Well, the fact he's talking, he replied to someone.
But he does it all the time. Why is it any different?
Man, I'd love it. It kind of makes me feel like
just said yes.
That deal hasn't been reached yet. You know what I mean? And I feel like Smash is basically done. So I mean, at the least, I guess he'd be a DLC character.
Okay.
So maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
again.
I think it's a big thing.
Fans hold out for false hope. I swear.
Yeah, I think it's we want this to happen. That's why it's such a big thing. I think there's so many people out there that want this.
The reason, forget the Phil Spencer comment. I understand, because a lot of fans, like Banjo Kazooie, is always like in any poll, he's like the top write-in for character that people want. They always write in Banjo Kazooie.
Yeah.
Because if it's not one of the options, the poll, it's like it should be.
Yeah. Right.
But. So I understand why sites report on that, but the reporting on Rare looking for outside studios to bring back classic franchises, it's like, yeah, Rare's wholly owned by Xbox. This is news for Xbox owners. Why are we as Nintendo fans even having a conversation about Banjo-Kazooie and Conker coming back when they're not probably coming back to Switch at all? We have no hint or suggestion or anything.
I think it's a tie-in, a very, very loose tie-in to the idea of hopefully Banjo-Kazooie being in Smash.
No. I think the only hope we have, the one hope we have, for anything Banjo-Kazooie or Conker related, is that they decide to allow Rare Replay to come out on Switch.
Right.
Since so many of the games on there are old games that came out on SNES, 64, GameCube. Or if not that, when Nintendo launches their VC, they let the SNES, N64, GameCube-specific versions of those games come out. So no, you won't on Switch get the upgraded Xbox, Conker game, but you'll get the N64 version, which would make Eric happy.
Which to me is a superior version.
But it's just one of those things. Same with Banjo Kazooie. It's just one of those things where these franchises are so beloved by Nintendo fans.
Yeah. That
I think a lot of us just feel like Microsoft, because they're not using the IPs. They don't really have the audience for those IPs anymore. They never really did in the first place.
Right.
So I think a lot of Nintendo fans are like, look, this is that sliver of hope where we can pipe dream.
This is our wheelhouse. Please bring it back to us.
Oh, they're looking for an outside studio. Hey, Nintendo, raise your hand.
Yeah, right.
But Nintendo ain't making no Banjo-Kazooie. They ain't making no Conker without buying the franchises.
Right.
And they're not going to buy the franchises away. Microsoft ain't going to sell them. Not unless they're going to sell Rare, and they're not going to sell Rare. Even though the Metacritic for Sea of Thieves ain't looking so hot right now. And I'm not even trying to... I haven't played the game. I think it looks absolutely phenomenal.
I know, right?
From what I've seen. But I also wonder, when I saw the Metacritic rating bombing, I saw some complaints, and I'm like, so it's an MMO. Have none of these reviewers ever played an MMO?
Yeah.
I'm just curious. Like I see some fans like, oh, well, when you're this one fan that was complaining about it on Reset Era was like, oh, well, so the game sucks until the end game, and they don't want you getting to the end game for a few weeks. I'm like, a few weeks? In MMOs, I don't remember getting like when an MMO first launches. Usually, it takes a few months to get to the end game, and you're complaining it's going to take a few weeks.
Yeah, right.
You know what the purpose of an MMO is?
What?
Then I'm not trying to defend Sea of Thieves. I haven't played it. It's just one of those things where I kept thinking a lot of the. I think Sea of Thieves is especially with Game Pass, is coming out to a lot of people that haven't experienced what MMOs are really like, and they're realizing we don't really like this, and that's okay not to like it. But like if you come from playing World of Warcraft or EverQuest back in the day or any MMO, like you'll know that like. Yeah, it's not. There's moments in MMOs that are kind of grindy and not kind of fun, and then there's those moments where you're just blown away.
Right.
And I've already seen enough moments just in watching people live stream things. I'm like, dude, that is amazing.
That is probably some of the best water
the water,
graphics
the visuals
that
on that
I've
water.
ever seen.
That's like that has to. They should win some sort of award just for the water.
Yeah, right.
It's official, and there is no game that has better water than Sea of Thieves. Holy crap! And it's almost in stark contrast because you have like this more cartoony art style, and then all of a sudden here's this ultra super
HD, realistic,
like I don't even care what. Get that HD word out of your mouth. I gotta slap you for saying that. HD's a resolution. It's got nothing to do with visual fidelity. Like it's a pixel count is all it has to do with. Slap that out of your mouth, man. God, I hate when people do that.
Yeah,
it's a misconception a lot of gamers use. Anyways, sorry, ranting there for a second. Anyways, I think that's going to do it for this podcast. I'm going to allow Darren, just because we're not going to report on this, because we have no confirmation or anything. What was the one thing you wanted to talk about?
The one thing I wanted to... well...
Oh, yeah. I'll give you a little 10-minute window here.
Okay, there was a rumor. Keep in mind, this is unconfirmed, kind of shaky, probably not true at all, but just reading this game list made me want this to be true in every way possible. So let me bring this up real quick.
Oh my gosh.
Nate and I talked about it for a while on Messenger yesterday.
So let me give you guys a little background while he's looking it up. This is a supposed leaked list of every single game coming to Switch over the next 2 years.
It's supposedly data mined. Like there's supposedly a master list out there.
List somewhere on a Nintendo server, on Switch itself. I have no idea. I've never heard of a master list like this ever existing for any platform in the history of anything. And if it does exist, it needs to be destroyed.
Just to pick out a couple interesting games from this list. Yoshi's Cardboard Flip Out, Pokemon Chemical and Pokemon Nuclear.
Interesting.
Octopath Traveler, spelled Travler. Not sure if that's the fault of the person who compiled this list or
keep
what.
going.
Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh boy.
Let's see. Wargroove. Yeah. Bayonetta 3,
now,
obviously.
Here's the thing.
There's a lot of known games on here, and then there's some games that haven't been announced.
The reason this list has even come to our attention at all is not just because like we saw it at Let's Play Video Games or whatever. I think that's where we initially saw it. But because after the latest Direct, or the latest Nindy event, this list has apparently existed for a month or so. Here's the thing. I can't confirm it. This is what Let's Play Video Games told us. Told the public, oh, this has been out for like a month or so on Reddit. We can't actually find it on Reddit. Don't know if the post has been deleted. We tried to ask them, because all they've given us is this link to Imager. Now, Imager is like the image system that Reddit uses, but Imager doesn't link back to Reddit threads. So you have to find the original Reddit thread. We couldn't find it. So we have this Imager thing. But what is known is the image itself did exist on Imager before the Nindy thing. And there was games from the Nindy, like the exact names, mentioned in this document that got announced that Nindy's is coming to Switch that we didn't know about. And if this is as old as Let's Play Video Games said, it predates the last Nintendo Direct, which also had new game announcements that were also in this list. So this is why we were even looking at this list at all. And why we haven't reported on it is, again, we can't find any reliable information or sourcing for it. So it's like I can't make a news report out of this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what am I supposed to tell you?
It's
So
really
some guy
shaky.
compiled 200 games
and if I
and got
repeat
lucky.
anything you just said over the last 20 seconds, it's because you cut out and I couldn't hear anything you said.
Well, it doesn't matter. Get into okay.
But
so
I mean, a couple more games on this list: Sonic Wings 3, Spyro the Dragon Treasure Trilogy, Shadow of the Tomb Raider is on here, which would be nice. Diablo 3.
what are some of the funny name ones that you're like, okay, this is
There's a lot of junk on here, but there's a lot of Monster Hunter World. I know a lot of people wanted that.
That would be a huge port.
Mm-hmm.
That would be massive in Japan. Holy crap!
If this list did
What
come out,
was the name of the Zelda game again that it had on there? You mentioned it earlier in the podcast. Link Between Islands or something?
it was a link between. It was a link to. No, it was something.
Something with islands, that's all I know.
Yeah. Well, first of all, the Watch Dogs 3, Division 2. First of all, Spirit Tracks HD. What's up with that? I did say that.
Yeah, I know. I was like, why would they have Spirit Tracks
HD and a link across islands?
A link across islands. And
And
the
it
thing
says
is, I would
Smash
say
Bros. Is Super Smash Bros. Royale.
And the thing is, well, and here's the thing: within months, we'll know if any of this is right.
Right.
Like, if they have the Royale name right and they nailed the Pokemon name, okay. Needless to say, we're going to be talking a hell of a lot more about the rest of this list.
Yeah.
Because those are huge games to get right at this point that no one's even talking about.
Let me just point out that those are pretty epic names for the Pokemon games.
Here's the thing. This is why the people view those names as red flags, the nuclear or whatever, because the fan game, Pokemon Uranium, it's a fan game. So it sounds a lot like the fan game, which means it sounds like something a fan would just make up.
Right. Or it sounds like Nintendo, which
there was also
one Metroid game
was it
and just basically
Pokemon
remade
Gen 4 remakes.
Yeah.
Was on that list. But here's the thing, like, that's kind of sort of believable because they do remake the older gen of Pokemon games.
There's a lot of believable stuff on here, and then there's a lot of stuff that
There's a lot of stuff
it
it got
would be
right.
Crazy.
Yeah, like there's a lot of stuff it's already gotten right, and that's why we're talking about it. But there's just a lot of stuff. It's like really, there's hundreds of games on this thing, so we can't go through all of it.
Right.
Maybe we will one day if more and more of like this is a list we're going to be keeping our eye on.
Mm-hmm.
If it starts getting to the point where the bigger games on this are getting nailed, not just the indie titles, but like they nail the title of Smash, they nail this, they nail like that's at the point where we're like, okay, this might actually be a legit leak.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how, I don't know why. Still doesn't make any sense to me that there's some master document somewhere for the next 2 years of Switch, especially since a lot of these games are third-party games.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah.
Who am I to deny the truth when it stares me in the face? Right now, we're just mentioning it exists. I'll throw a link down in the description if you want to go check out the Imager thing. There's an image that basically has most of the games listed. It does note on there that the list will be updated over time, which you might say is fishy. It could also be like, well, if they are data mining and they found a way in, as new things get added, they're going to update the list. So there's a lot of different ways you can analyze that. Now, but here's the thing: we'll have a copy of the original image here. So like, if the list gets updated and like suddenly it's the day of E3 and oh look, now the Smash name magically changed to the correct one the day of E3 when we know what the correct name is.
Right.
It'll be like, okay, he's just making it up.
Here's one thing that I just found on this list. The day I showed this list to you, Nate.
Yeah.
It had Let's Play Video Games reported on this 10 hours before I shared it to you.
Yep.
And later that day, Ark Survival Evolved was
Announced
for Switch.
Yeah.
And that game is on this list.
Yep.
So I guess we can say that this has been on this list for sure before it was officially announced.
Sure. But again, like some of these games, like the indie games, whatever, you can basically throw any indie game on there and assume it's coming. Yeah. But even Ark Survival Evolved, it was known there was a phone version in the works. Mm-hmm. So any AAA game that's got a phone version, like Fortnite, PUBG, of course, could be tossed on a list for Switch because it's a tablet. But, anyways, we'll keep an eye on this.
Yeah.
Again, to me, it's if the Nintendo stuff gets nailed.
Mm-hmm.
Any of it, any of the big name Nintendo stuff gets hit. All right, because all this stuff's not going to get unveiled at E3, so we'll actually probably have a whole segment on it. Like, well, it might not even be a podcast thing. We'll probably do like an actual discussion. Hey, look, we've known about this stuff. We sat on it because we didn't believe it. Now we do. So let's go through the other stuff that no one's talking about yet.
Right.
And just get hyped or I don't know.
Or go at.
Or get disappointed.
Yeah.
That games we want on the list aren't on the list.
Right.
No Banjo Kazooie.
Oh.
Sorry to burst that bubble if this list is true.
No.
And of course, remember, if this list does become true, if you guys go look at it, that this is, the next 2 years, this isn't going to be everything. As is noted, the guy was going to keep updating it because there's always new games and new decisions being made and blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the big thing people are going to dig in there for is Nintendo games because Nintendo obviously has that road mapped out.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, can you do me a favor, Darren? Before we sign out, does it have the name of the new Fire Emblem game on there?
Yes. Hold on. It is Fire Emblem Mutiny.
Oh, the thing is, that's a believable name.
Yeah, it is.
Compared to prior names of Fire Emblem games. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens, guys. But we somehow snuck in a way to at least mention this thing exists.
Yeah.
And we'll do a bigger discussion on it if and when any of this is proven true. Obviously, day by day, more and more of the list seems to be coming true, but we got to wait for that major Nintendo one to hit. And then we're like, all right.
All right.
I just hope we don't have to wait till E3.
Yeah. Right.
Does it, well, no. I was going to ask if it had Labo Garage on there, but I don't even know if that's a separate release from normal Labo at this point. So, all right, folks. Well, thanks for tuning in to the Nintendo Prime Podcast, episode 57. A little bit of a short one this week, as we wanted, as we intended. Let me know if you like these shorter, sweeter ones. I know we mix it up. When we have more guests on, it's usually going to go a little longer. But sometimes it's nice to have short, sweet. Good way to start off your week.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you guys enjoyed. I want to thank Darren again for coming in. Reminder that eventually he might be on a video. Maybe.
Yes.
Is it? He says.
Also, special tease, real quick.
Oh, jeez.
Next week's guest.
Oh, yeah. Go right ahead.
Nintendon is coming on, which I've been in discussions with him before, and he's delightful to talk with. So if you don't know who he is, check him out. He's on Twitter as Nintendon, D-A-A-N, I believe.
Does he still make YouTube videos, too?
I believe he does, yeah. He makes YouTube videos, and he works with Go Nintendo and a lot of other websites. So.
Yeah, he works with a lot of Nintendo websites.
Nice.
Posting stuff, or like getting information for them. I only know of him because of his work at Go Nintendo, but I've seen him pop up at other sites, too. He has a YouTube channel where he's usually posting, like, sometimes quick snippets from things from, like, directs or whatever. I don't know. I've never actually talked to him specifically. I've talked to Kevin, the guy who owns Go Nintendo, before. But so that'll be interesting to have him on. Heck, I'm going to have some questions for him as well. Be like, so, as running a competing website.
Yeah.
No, I won't dive too deep in that. Although, I'll probably ask him how he got started on any of this stuff because I'm always curious. I know how I got started.
Yeah.
How did other people get into this crap? I know how Darren got started because I started him.
This is very true.
So, I know how Eric got started. I started him.
Yeah.
It's also something I usually ask our YouTube guests as well. Like, hey, how did you get started on YouTube? Like, why did you want to do this? I always think it's a cool conversation to get multiple perspectives on how people got into the industry because there are no two stories are usually the same. So that'll be fun. I've known about this guy for a long time. It's going to be kind of cool finally having him on. And I think we were also, not for next week, but a cast and eventually getting, Liam Robertson, I think we were looking at?
Yeah, he said he would love to be on a podcast in the future. He's busy for the next few weeks, but he said he would definitely like to join because he loves podcasting.
And would you want to explain to our viewers who that guy is?
Liam Robertson is what a lot of people would call an industry insider. He has leaked numerous pieces of Nintendo news months before they've been announced or rumored through other outlets or people. So he has connections and he has opinions, which we love here. So,
yep. I don't know him that well. Also, I've had to follow him on Twitter for his rumors.
Nice.
That's pretty much it. I think he actually worked at an outlet that I knew, but now I can't draw. I think he's got listed on his Twitter profile. I'm drawing a blank now. But whatever.
You know what? I will look that up right now.
Yeah, I remember at some outlet we used to cover when we were at Zelda Forum. We'd go to for news or something.
Yeah, I have a horrible memory, but I know. I mean, a lot of
I keep
people
thinking
that I
like
follow on Twitter work at a host of different
Yeah,
Nintendo places.
Nintendo
But he freelances at Did You Know Gaming,
okay, yeah, I knew
Oh,
that.
nice.
Yeah,
Unseen 64,
yeah.
Okay.
Comic Book, and Nintendo Life.
Nintendo Life. That's the one I was thinking of. Because I knew he
And
did.
he also has his own YouTube channel, so check that
Yeah,
out.
I knew
Nice.
he did some freelance work at Did You Know Gaming because I usually found the Did You Know Gaming stuff through him. If for those who don't know Did You Know Gaming, what's wrong with you?
You're right.
From all of the images that get shared around the internet uncredited to that's why they do videos now, and the videos are amazing videos.
Yeah, Did You Know Gaming is quality.
Yeah,
Oh,
like it is one of the best video game things that exist on the internet. Good stuff. I don't always agree with the people that work on it in terms of their personal opinions on things, but their fact-based research is just top-notch. All right, well, that's going to do it for the podcast. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. You can check out Darren on Twitter at RealDarn, and hopefully eventually in person with a beautiful face right here on the podcast at Nintendo Prime.
There you go.
You can follow Eric at Emo8790.
Yes, there you
Nailed
go.
it just because I tweeted it today.
Yeah.
And you can also follow us at Ninty Prime or my personal at Nate Jantz. I actually did post on my at Nate Jantz one this week, put up pictures of my kids at the water park.
Yeah.
Because for some reason, people on the internet should see my kids. I don't
I
know.
saw those on Facebook. Looked like a fun time.
Yeah, it was a fun time.
Yeah.
That's going to do it. I guess we'll catch you next week, guys. Oh, by the way, before we sign out, if you have any fan topics, you can send them to Nathan at NintendoPrime.net and just put the topic as fan topics. And it's a high chance that it'll appear on a podcast, similar to one like this week when we don't have a lot of heavy-hitting stuff. We're just whatever interests us is what we talked about.
Yeah.
So, thanks for tuning in. Peace. And we're out. Yeah, buddy.
And
Stop.